Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson, a meeting of the minds. Here is Dave trying to convince Jordan Peterson that he and his husband, don't worry, they will have a maternal presence in their children's lives. So Jordan Peterson doesn't have to worry so much, aka my audience doesn't have to leave me.
Children who are breastfed do better.
Yep.
I believe that 1 year of breastfeeding is equivalent to, I think breastfed kids have a 5-point IQ advantage, and 1 point IQ is worth 1 year of education.
I have two freezers in my garage, 2 industrial freezers full of breast milk.
Right,
that's
right.
David has done all the research on this.
Right. So another complication, but okay. And so, but roughly speaking, women tend to do the nurturing thing more and men do the encouraging thing more. So now the question is, how do you mediate? How do you manage to fulfill both those roles in the absence of a heterosexual arrangement?
Now,
yes.
You know David pretty well, and we've been out to dinner with Tammy many times.
Yeah.
And you know him. He is incredibly warm and nurturing and loving and deeply cares about all of those things. And I'm telling you, he is reading about skin-to-skin contact every day and all of the breast milk stuff and everything. And I know he will have a huge percentage of the stuff that a mother would bring. But I also know it's not all of it. And we thought we could take some of my sister's eggs, and she's a mother now. She's actually pregnant with her third. But that we could get her eggs, and then we would take David's sperm, and then we would have 2 children from that. After a long time of talking, about a year debating that back and forth and going through all that, there were a lot of ethical and moral issues. And my sister then would be the biological mother of my children. I mean, there were all sorts of things that we were about to traverse.
Right, and that's all uncharted territory, right?
The average person who was protesting at Stonewall, if you would have said to them, the average person that was 35 years old that was at a bar at Stonewall, I want to be able to go to a bar that has windows maybe that aren't blocked out, that isn't underground, and all of these things, and be in a relationship that I don't have to hide or whatever. Actually, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, this is going to be about sending your kid to school where they're going to privately discuss sex with teachers. They would
as a
never believe
to
it.
Hormonal transformation and surgery.
That I think had the world not shifted to be a little bit kinder, had I not maybe been on tour with you and come to some of these realizations or found someone in the world that I wanted to put their needs above my own, that I could have been left to a life that would have been sort of purely narcissistic.
I think he escaped that.
Wait a second. So I was trying to figure out, is that cut up a little bit?
I think the Stonewall excerpt is
a little bit later.
Yeah, we need to see that. But I was just waiting for but let's be clear, trans people are bad, right? I mean, we can talk about this, and we can talk about the deficiencies your child will have. But first off, the idea that breastfeeding, there is something called causation and there is something called correlation. And the idea of causation versus correlation, it is not clear that breast milk makes you 5 points smarter on the IQ. What is clear that it correlates, and that may be because a child is with their mother almost definitionally. You can pump, that's true, but if you're pumping and you can store it, then chances are you have the means to have a babysitter, let's say, or a full-time nanny who is providing one-on-one attention to a child. And children who at that age get one-on-one attention
No.
I imagine the IQ stuff is probably measured at an earlier age, and it probably evens out by the time that you get further away from that birth thing. But that's also the other thing. If you want to look at disparities in terms of IQ and listening vocabulary, look at wealth as a measure.
Exactly.
Not breastfeeding probably correlates with wealth in this country in terms of where those research is done. So, I mean, but the idea that like that Rubin is having to justify his arrangement to Peterson is so hilarious to me.
It's just sad, right? In that he says he feels like he has to shoehorn it into the conversation. We've been out to dinner.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, unlike with my buddy Ben, who won't come to my wedding, and he probably won't go out to dinner with me either, especially if my husband's there, Shapiro. He has to shoehorn that in there, but it's just so awkward to watch him try to justify his lifestyle to somebody who he's been out to dinner with, who is still just like probing him with questions about the immorality of his decision to have children. And he's going to have to do this for the rest of his life. I mean, this is the bed that he's made, where you're going to have conservatives that he surrounded himself with be like, yeah, but you want your kid to be dumb? You want to use formula? You want your kid to be dumb? No maternal presence in his life. What's that, or in his or her or their life, that your kid? What's that going to be like? What's that going to be like? And it's just, I mean, he's chasing something that he's never going to get from them, and it's like, I mean, it must be demoralizing.
I would imagine if he had any sense of pride, it would be demoralizing, but it's not. You can also hear him sort of say, like, it really is the case, though, that people, the people, who are protesting at Stonewall probably think that we have gone too far these days.
That's the thing. That's the thing that's so insidious about this. Is his rationalization is a revision of gay rights and trans rights and writing trans people out of, say, Stonewall, or the way he talks about pride as like a place where he found a nice young man who was wearing an American flag tank top, but other people take it too far and are using it to groom kids. It's like, it's supremely disgusting for Dave.
So gross. Golden Wind. Hey, crew, just an FYI to any prospective parents, do not freeze breast milk too long because the baby will get a very upset stomach and at best will puke it up a bit. Davey here isn't getting that, but I get his intentions are good. But his colleagues won't let that get in the way of being bigots. It's about the same as an LGBTQ person or BIPOC person supporting DeSantis. They'll gun for you at some point, of course.